Her name? Kamala. As the 2024 presidential race takes an unexpected turn, Vice President Kamala Harris finds herself in the spotlight once again. With President Biden dropping out of the race and throwing his full support behind Harris, the country now turns its attention to this trailblazing leader. President Biden endorsed Kamala Harris as the Democratic Party's presidential nominee. This pivotal moment has set the stage for Vice President Kamala Harris to make history again.
Selecting Kamala was the very first decision I made when I became our nominee. And it was the best decision I made my whole career.
But who is Vice President Kamala Harris?
That's a fine shop, right? Okay, Senator Harris, I say this with respect. You're kind of a show-off. It's like, meanwhile, it's taken like 20 minutes to do this much of ginger. Okay, what can she do? Like, we're on a cooking show.
Very serious.
Yeah. Listen, this is controversial. I put peas and cashews in mine. Yay or nay?
What is that? That was, okay.
Your silence was very damning. Yeah. I knew what you wanted to do.
I want to try it. Go for it.
No, because I don't want to suffer the consequences of our future president not liking my Indian food. So why don't I just
I think
play it safe?
Okay. Put a couple.
She has been in the limelight for years, even speaking at the 2012 Democratic National Convention for then President Barack Obama. Born on October 20th, 1964, in the bustling neighborhood of Oakland, California, a young Kamala Harris was immersed in the rich tapestry of her multicultural heritage. Harris, who has a Jamaican father, a respected professor at Stanford University, and her Indian mother, a pioneering cancer researcher, Kamala's childhood was shaped by a deep appreciation for education, service, and the diverse influences surrounding her.
My mother was very well aware that she was raising two black girls to be two black women. And she did that instilling in us pride in our culture and cultures, always knowing that we would face all kinds of obstacles, but she never let us believe that anything could get in the way of our dream. Gave my sister and me a lot of advice, and one of the things that she said to me that has had a lasting impact is she said, Kamala, you may be the first to do many things, make sure you're not the last.
As Kamala navigated through her formative years, her grandfather, an esteemed Indian civil servant, remained a guiding force, even from thousands of miles away. His civic-mindedness and playful mentorship sparked a fire within Kamala, a passion for public service that would define her future.
My grandfather was probably one of the favorite people in my life. I, as the eldest grandchild, had the honor, among anyone in our family, of being invited by my grandfather to take his morning walk with his retired buddies. And they would every morning gather these, old men who were very smart and very knowledgeable, and they would take their walk. And I would hold my grandfather's hand, and I was the one who was able to go on the walk with him. And my grandfather and his friends would passionately debate the importance of democracy and a government that treated people equally and with fairness and a government that was not corrupt. And that influenced my life in more ways than I can ever explain about the fight for independence in India. My mother then, of course, you might know this in retrospect, took to the streets to march for civil rights in her sari.
From 7th grade to high school, Kamala and her mother ventured to Montreal, Canada, embracing its diverse Westmount neighborhood. Their experiences further shaped Kamala's worldview and instilled an enduring commitment to inclusivity and community. In 1986, Kamala Harris proudly attained her bachelor's degree at Howard University, where she joined Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
There was this one journalist who said to me, I'm doing this interview, and he says, well, you have family members that went to Stanford and Harvard, but you chose to go to Howard. No, elite schools like Stanford, but you chose to go to Howard. Now, you know, I was ready to hang this thing up.
Right.
I was I was about to go off, which would not have been cool, because I'm trying to get elected.
Yeah. But you went to Howard.
They went to these elite schools, and you went to, and I said, well, you do know that Howard University is the Mecca. If you stand in the middle of the yard, looking around campus, you'll see young black students who are walking around in lab coats. They're in the School of Medicine. Over there, walking around with briefcases. Over there in leotards, the School of Fine Arts. Over there, right? The variety and the diversity and the depth of who we are.
Her journey of learning and growth continued as she pursued a law degree at the University of California Hastings College of Law in San Francisco. With an unwavering dedication to justice and public service, Kamala worked diligently in the Alameda County and San Francisco County District Attorney's offices, steadily rising. Her principled approach and unwavering commitment to upholding the law paved the way for her eventual roles as San Francisco's district attorney from 2004 to 2010. Kamala's political future ascended as she was elected California's Attorney General, breaking barriers as the first woman to hold the position from 2011 to 2017. Her tenure was marked by significant initiatives such as implicit bias training for law enforcement and programs to assist nonviolent offenders. In 2016, Harris achieved another milestone by becoming the first woman of color elected to the U.S. Senate from California, serving from 2017 to 2021. While in the Senate, she championed progressive causes such as advocating for marriage equality, criminal justice reform, which garnered her national attention. Her tireless advocacy and unwavering dedication to improving her state and nation distinguished her as a leader of exceptional merit. Vice President Kamala Harris ran in the 2020 presidential election. Her campaign, Kamala for the People, ended in 2019. Vice President Harris later endorsed then former Vice President Joe Biden, eventually becoming his running mate. Kamala then made history as the first woman, Black person, and Asian American to hold the office of the United States Vice President. As Vice President, she has advocated for critical issues such as immigration reform, criminal justice, and women's rights. Vice President Kamala Harris has established herself as a champion of change and progress. Her commitment to addressing social inequities and fighting for justice has inspired many nationwide.
This is a historic day. Vice President Harris has cast more tie-breaking votes than anyone in America's long and storied history. She's done a great job, and without her tie-breaking votes, not just today it's historic, we wouldn't have had the IRA, we wouldn't have had the rescue plan, we wouldn't have had so many of the good judges and appointees we've had.
As she embarks on this new chapter in her political journey, Vice President Kamala Harris continues to be a voice for the voiceless, a beacon of hope for the marginalized, and a symbol of resilience for all Americans.
As a prosecutor, when I had a case, I charged it not in the name of the victim, but in the name of the people. For a simple reason. In our system of justice, a harm against any one of us is a harm against all of us. And I would often explain this to console survivors of crime, to remind them no one should be made to fight alone. We are all in this together. And every day in the courtroom, I stood proudly before a judge and I said 5 words: Kamala Harris for the people. And to be clear, my entire career, I've only had one client, the people. And so, on behalf of the people, on behalf of every American, regardless of party, race, gender, or the language your grandmother speaks, on behalf of my mother and everyone who has ever set out on their own unlikely journey, on behalf of Americans like the people I grew up with, people who work hard, chase their dreams, and look out for one another, on behalf of everyone whose story could only be written in the greatest nation on earth, I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America.
Her unique background, unwavering determination, and dedication to public service makes her a formidable candidate with the potential to lead the nation forward. In a rapidly changing political landscape, Vice President Kamala Harris stands at the forefront of a new era of leadership. With President Biden's endorsement propelling her campaign, all eyes are on Kamala Harris as she charts a path towards a brighter future for the United States.